Hey guys, so I just saw this article that Kotaku apparently put out yesterday uh, in reference to Torchlight 3 and the amount of spiders that are in it. And the point of the article is that developers should stop putting spiders in their games. So, just so you know, I'm not a big fan of sites like Kotaku and IGN and Destructoid for a number of different reasons. I think they have a lot of shit takes, but they've kind of become to me what Batman is to Joker, in the sense that they give me a reason to live. So my wife always complains that I complain about Kotaku and IGN articles, but I still keep reading them. But anyway, the writer of this article, I kind of gave away the point of the article, but he starts with the fact that he has a phobia of spiders. He has arachnophobia, and he mentions that an estimated 3 to 6% of the population have this. And seeing spiders pop up in Torchlight 3 made him want to stop playing the game altogether. He goes on to mention that he has these primal reactions to spiders. Um, okay, what are some examples? On his way to work, he saw a spider crawling up his jacket sleeve. He forgot that his phone was in his pocket, tore his jacket off, and the phone, causing the phone to land screen first on a subway platform. Once 4 minutes into a first date, he spotted a spider on the other side of the booth, leapt out of his seat, hit his knee on the table, and spilled both of him and his date's drinks everywhere. He says, in fact, just last night at my gym, don't worry, it's in the basement of my apartment building, and I always wear a mask. Ugh. Anyway, I saw a spider on the ceiling and let go of my weight mid-rep. So as you can see, that's pretty serious. Like the fact that seeing a spider can cause you to react that harshly and that you don't seem to have control over your body, like that's a severe thing. But he even goes on, like, that seems like something that you need to take care of, right? If that's an issue that you're having, you should probably do something to take care of it. He even goes on to admit that in cases of phobias like this, he says, experts often recommend exposure therapy, basically spending hours looking at pictures of the exact thing that scares the daylight out of you, which is true. I've heard that, like, for example, if you have a crippling fear of elevators, well, you look at pictures of elevators, you go to a building, you stand in the lobby, you look at the elevator, you walk over, eventually you push the buttons. You basically are exposed to it to the point where it becomes boring to you. That's how I've heard exposure therapy works. Here's the thing though, like, if you're having that bad of a reaction to spiders, that sounds like a you problem, man. Like, I get the fact that nobody likes spiders. Pretty much everyone that I'm aware of is made uncomfortable by spiders. Nobody likes to suddenly see one where they wouldn't expect. I mean, I've had my share of times, in the shower, I turn around, there's a giant spider just looking at me, on the bathroom wall. That's never a comfortable experience. Like, that's not good. But I don't freak out and run into stuff and knock things over. I just deal with the situation. Anyway, I mean, I don't know what his life is like. I know that, you know, I don't know what it's like from his perspective. I will say this, that it would be one thing if he was making an argument for the lack of originality when it comes to so many enemies in video games being spiders. Like, that I can actually see. I think that is a point that could potentially be worth making. There's so many bug enemies, like, all the time in everything. And sometimes it's cool, and sometimes it's fun, and sometimes it can feel like it's not very original. Like, that's one thing. But basically what he's saying in this article is that developers have a moral obligation to either not feature spiders in their games because of this supposed statistic that he mentioned, the 3 to 6% of people having severe arachnophobia, or having the option to change a spider, to basically turn off the spiders in the game. That's what he's saying. He's saying he's sick of it, and he says, I'm not alone, and the problem isn't limited to fantasy games. So to him, this is a problem. This is a problem that needs to be solved. This is like a flaw, like an issue. So, yeah, I mean, I think that you could apply this to lots of other stuff, and you can see where the ideas for this kind of break down. Like if you've had a traumatic experience in which a loved one has died, right? And you go to watch a movie and there's a death of a major character in it, and that brings back those feelings, that's tough. But you don't get to, ban the movie because nobody warned you that someone was going to die in it, or because there is a traumatic character death in the movie and that brought up those feelings that you had. I mean, I think that's a fairly valid parallel to something like that. I mean, think of all of the people that would be basically forced to have an uncomfortable emotional experience going to a movie when they've had traumatic events that are very similar to what they're going to see on the screen. But that's just a part of the way that these mediums work. That's how entertainment works, is it forces you to be in certain situations. And people pick spiders to be in these video games because they're uncomfortable. In Torchlight, you've got all these spiders surrounding you and attacking you because it's a fun type of enemy to be depicted, because spiders are scary and uncomfortable, and the idea of being swarmed by a bunch of giant spiders is creepy. That's the reason why it's in the game. So anyway, this article is ridiculous to me. I think that a lot of the points that he brings up, like when he mentions the experts recommending exposure therapy, that's actually a point to the existence of spiders in video games, because technically, like, if you play games with spiders in them and stop turning them off because you don't like them, that might, according to these supposed experts, that might actually help you to get over your phobia to some extent, at least to the point where you can function and not be completely controlled by impulses that arise because of your interactions with spiders. So yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and find something else to complain about pretty soon, I guess.